don't know that everyone will be saying that after what happened on Saturday. Paul Feinbaum joins us now here on Thursday. Hello, Paulie. Good to see you. Let's focus on the teams that went down over the weekend. Texas went to the Swamp and lost to a one-win Florida team, 29-21, after previously falling to Ohio State in Week 1. Texas has not been unranked since 2022. Let's hear from Steve Sarkisian.
You haven't led in either your games against Power 4 teams, and I'm just curious how so many people, including myself, could be wrong about your team, and how stunned are you?
I don't know if I'm stunned. I mean, take the other, how many teams are there in college football? 136? Take the other 135 and have them go play at Ohio State and at the Swamp. See how they do.
All right. He's not entirely wrong, but Paul, did you like Sark's comments there?
No, I thought it was terrible, and what he failed to mention is that USF played at the Swamp a couple weeks ago and beat Florida. It's not that difficult. It's a traditionally rich place, but for somebody who is expected and is said to be one of the elite coaches in the country and who started the season off #1 in the country, that is just nothing more than a lame excuse, and really it's unbecoming of someone of his stature. They have failed miserably this year. If he's not shocked, then he's not paying very close attention. And I think most people are shocked. You don't go from 1 in the country to out of the top 25 before we get to the second week in October without a shocking revelation. And right now they are fighting for their lives. They have 2 losses, which is important. I think they're one of the few teams in America that could afford a 3rd loss and still get in the playoff because they played at Ohio State. But they're running out of mulligans right now, Stephen A.
First things first. First of all, it's good to see you. I missed you last week, buddy, #1. #2, I want to say this about Steve Sarkisian right here on national television. I respect this man. I like this man, and I think that for the most part, he's been a hell of a coach. I'm very disappointed with what I've seen from Steve Sarkisian this year. To me, Paul, he has coached scared. He has coached like somebody who's been forced to deal with all the allure, all the attention and notoriety that comes associated with Arch Manning, and he has not lived up to the billing any more than his quarterback has. And I think that he's been feeling the pressure since the opening of the season, Paul. I think he liked it. And I think that an example, for him to say what he said as a quote, what do you mean? You know, how would they do? You're Texas. You came into the season ranked as the #1 team in the nation. And this ain't Florida that was coached, that's being coached by Urban Meyer, no disrespect. Okay, Urban Meyer's not there, he's not walking through that door. Tim Tebow ain't walking through that door. This is a different Florida Gators program. For him to come out of his mouth and say that, to me, just speaks to the level of disappointment everybody should be feeling about Steve Sarkisian, because I think that he has coached scared because Arch Manning is there. There was huge expectations, and he's been dealing with all of that instead of just coaching football like he knows how to coach football.
Listen, it ain't just Arch Manning, though. We all know that.
I know
right?
that.
Paul, I mean, the old line's got issues. They didn't.
But I'm talking about the notoriety. I'm talking about the attention.
But
that's all I'm talking about.
If there does feel like there's a little bit of, I don't know, where he needs to stay with Arch because Arch sat out for a year. His last name is Manning. I mean, I'm just pointing out the obvious.
He's feeling those kind of pressures. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not trying to imply that Arch Manning is the only problem, Paul. What I'm saying is that all the attention that was aimed at the program, they had Arch Manning as a Heisman Trophy finalist before the season began. Paul was guilty of that. He knows that. But I'm just saying, all of that stuff Sarkisian has reacted to, and he's been reacting to since the opening of the season. And I think it's exposing the difference between him and the likes of a Nick Saban, a Kirby Smart, and others. There's levels to this. And he's showing that he's not on that level because of how he has handled all this attention.
Paul?
Yeah, but one thing I will say about Arch Manning, Stephen A., he actually played well enough to win on Saturday against Florida. His offensive line just forgot to show up, and he was literally running for his life the entire game. But you're ultimately right. Sarkisian is thought of as one of the 2 or 3 or 4 best coaches in the country.
Yes.
But he's not looking like it. I think the Ohio State game was a shock to his system, and he has been blaming everybody but himself since then.
Yeah.
All right, well, one good thing, I guess, for the Longhorns is that they don't have to face Alabama. Brought up Nick Saban, right? They don't have to face Alabama this season, who has now beat 2 ranked teams in a row, Georgia and Vanderbilt, after having a little bit of a slow start, and they did that in back-to-back weeks. But now the question is, Paul, does Alabama have enough to win it all?
Yes. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get some blowback here, but that's great. Stephen A., they are playing with an amazing amount of confidence, and I still can't explain what happened against Florida State. And I know how you feel about that, and that's fine. But they are really an elite team right now, and Ty Simpson, the quarterback, is playing as well as anyone in the country. They have wide receivers. They have a very strong offensive line. Their defense is held up, and I realize they've beaten one really good team, Georgia, and one average to good team in Vanderbilt.